15 years ago, I was searching for Mary and Joseph figurines that the families of my faith community could play with and wonder about. What kept coming up in my Google search was a ceramic Mary regally sitting upon a donkey, 9 months pregnant. A ceramic Joseph led the way. Mary's hair was covered with a scarf, and not one hair was out of place. Mary looked peaceful, even meek and mild, as many of our songs incorrectly describe her. This Mary was meant to be gazed upon, to be admired from afar and for what was on the surface. All I could think about was how easily that figurine would shatter with a few moments' play or reflection on our Bible stories. The temptation to buy these figurines myself and shatter a couple were a wonderful daydream. Fortunately, we have our Gospels to do the shattering for us, including today's. Each of the 4 Gospels introduce Jesus' public ministry beginnings with a different sacred story. Matthew starts Jesus' ministry with a Sermon on a Mount. Mark tells of an exorcism. In Luke, Jesus begins with a sermon in his hometown of Nazareth so upsetting that the hearers want to throw him off a cliff. Today's gospel story is unique to Mark and also unique to John, and how John chooses to tell the beginning of Jesus' public ministry. It is the way we are also introduced to the mother of adult Jesus in John. She is many things which we will explore. She is not meek nor mild. The Gospel of John has no nativity story. John starts with a reference to the creation story. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus' divine origins are expressed through poetry in a way that we cannot miss his divinity. Within the story of Jesus' first sign, we are introduced to his mother. These 2 passages of creation and public ministry dance together, eliciting themes of Jesus' full divinity and full humanity. Mary sheds light on Jesus' human side. She fed him. She diapered him. She raised him. She provided shelter and food. Jesus didn't get to avoid that. It is believed that Jesus began his public ministry in his 30s, and so we are left to wonder about his family life the previous years. In the Gospel of John, Mary is never named. She is called the mother of Jesus. To my ears, both that and the address of woman in this passage seem impersonal and odd. Yet mother indicates relational proximity, an honorific indicating how she abides with Jesus. To be a disciple of Jesus is to have a close relationship. She shows how to be a disciple, noted by her essential role as mother. Woman was also a word used at the time to speak of relationship and familiarity. For our purposes today, I will continue to call her Mary. The Gospel of John today begins with Mary and Jesus at an everyday and celebratory event together, a wedding. These were often week-long events. Mary knows that the host will lose honor if the guests find out he ran out of wine. Her response is compassionate. We are left wondering, what did Mary see in Jesus growing up to know his ability? What did she see in him in that moment? How did she know this moment was the time for his first sign? Even Jesus seems to hesitate. When Jesus does act, About 1,000 bottles of good wine by our measurements were produced. A sign showing God's abundance beyond what we can need. What would have happened in that moment if Mary hadn't spoken up? My love song to Mary could go on longer than most of you would like to listen. So why does this all matter? Representation, specifically of women of faith. Mary has been held up at times as the ideal woman of faith. And the whole idea of ideal woman, man, person is problematic. We are all God's beloved children, uniquely called by God into this world. This is content for many, many homilies in the future. But when ideal woman is paired with a false portrayal of a meek and mild personality, it is dangerous. It leads to relationships of unequal power that leave room for abuse. Mary is human and therefore complex and imperfect like each and every one of us. She is confident. She has a close relationship with her child. She has humor. She sees a problem and she helps fix it. There is a playfulness and familiarity to her and Jesus' interaction today. She is inspiring. Mary shows up twice in the Gospel of John, here at the beginning of Jesus' public ministry and at the foot of the cross. She is witness to Jesus' first revelation of his glory and his last. I am left wondering how she had the strength to be at the foot of the cross and praying that she knew how the story would end. Mary offers company in deep mourning and strength that I only believe can be found in a deep relationship with God. Not the superficial strength that says, look on the bright side. The strength that said, I am here wherever you are. I am here to the depths of despair. I am here to the height of joy. I am here in the boring moments of everyday life. I am here. Mary abides with God. Through Mary, we are called to imagine what it looks like to abide with Jesus. In abiding, we are not alone. We are invited into the greatest story, the story of God's unending, unmeasurable love. We are invited to witness and wonder together. Where are we seeing the holy in our everyday lives? Where, as a community, are we called, like Mary, to point out God's abundance in the world? What other images need to be shattered for God's love to be fully revealed?